So mga ka-I know, alright, someone asked, ano nga ba pinagkaiba ng online platform sa offline platforms? Let me explain it to you. Ang online is the available on or perform using the internet or other computer network. In addition, marketplaces, search engines, social media, blogs, app store communications, services, payment system service included is in so-called collaborative or gig economy. And many more online services have all been referred to as online platforms. And online platforms is digital services that through the use of the internet enables communication between two or more different but related sets of user, whether business or um, individuals, ganon. While the offline is activity or services not available on or performed using the internet or other computer network. Offline generally denotes devices and users that are not connected to the global internet. When someone talks about being offline, they may not always be referring to the digital and virtual worlds that people frequently live and work in. Yun lang. Next question. Bye!
What does website means? A website is a collecting of publicly accessible interlinked web page that share a single domain name. Website can be created and maintained by an individual, group, business, or organization to serve a variety of purposes. Although it's sometimes called web page, this definition is wrong. Consists of a several web page. A website is also called a web presence or simple as site. Website come in a nearly endless variety, including this. Pages within a website are usually a mixed text or other media. That said, there are no rules dictating the form of a website. The home page or simple home represents the main page of a site itself. Every page is a single HTML document since all of them are connected through hyperlink or simple link, which can be combined in a navigation bar for ease of use. Usually, the footer contains external links pointing to similar website and other external resources, together with the other vital info such as disclaimer, term of service, privacy policy, contact pages. Websites are hosted on servers and require a web browsers such as Chrome, Firefox, or Internet Explorer to be visited either on a computer or a mobile phone. Originally, websites were categorized by their top-level domain. Some examples including this. In modern days, the internet.com extension by far the most popular domain, together with many other country-specific extensions like this. The first website was created in 1990 by Tim Berners-Lee. 3 years later, in 1993, CERN announced that everyone could access and use the World Wide Web for free.
Hello! Alam niyo ba kung ano ang format sa ICT terms? Halika, tukuyin natin. So, ang format, there are two different meaning for this term. Format is how information or data is arranged either on a page format, or in a file. Or should I say file format? There are thousands of file format in a common use. And you recognize them by their extension. For example, yung doc, ginagamit ang do pag ikaw ay gumamit ng Word. Yung XLS for Excel, yung PPT for PowerPoint, yung JPG or JPEG image format, PSD for Photoshop, sound file para naman sa MP3. To format a hard disk means that the hard disk is set up ready for writing. What actually happens is that magnetic sectors are prepared on the disk surface and hidden system files are loaded. Ready for sorting files, you often have a format a storage device ready for use. Yun lang, thank you!
So what is e-learning? E-learning refers to a learning system that we can obtain through the internet using an electronic devices. We also call it online learning or online education. The E in e-learning stands for electronic, hence the original term is electronic learning. So here are some examples of e-learning platforms. So first is MOOCs, or it also called a massive online open courses. So for example of this is Coursera or Future Learn. Next is Virtual Learning Environment or VLE. Example of this is Learn or Blackboard. So next is video streaming services, or it also called YouTube. So next is virtual instructor led training or VILT. So for example is WebEx and webinars. Next is discussion board. Discussion board are reflective in nature. They force students to read other perspective and carefully consider a response. Social aspect of the face-to-face classroom are very intimidating for many students, especially for ESL speakers, new students, and those who are simply shy or quiet. So next is forums. Forums help build community and social learning by connecting learners to each other so they can discuss concepts or work on project. So the last is podcasts. Podcasts are a great way to teach new content, something suited for passive learning. Students can listen on their own, freeing and valuable classroom time for more active learning.
Magandang araw! Narinig niyo na ba kung ano ang ICT? Alam ba ninyo kung ano ito? Alam niyo ba kung anong gamit ng ICT? At alam niyo ba kung ano ang halaga ng ICT lalo na sa panahon natin ngayon? Ngayong araw, atin niyang aalamin. ICT means Information and Communication Technology and refers to the combination of manufacturing and services industries that capture, transmit, and display data and information electronically. Maraming gamit ang ICT sa panahon natin ngayon, lalong-lalo na nung musbong ang pandemya, dahil ang ICT ay ang ating sinandalan para maging entertainment, lalong-lalo na para makapag-communicate tayo sa ating mga mahal sa buhay na hindi natin kasama sa ating tahanan. At alam niyo ba kung hindi dahil sa ICT wala tayong internet ngayon? At kung wala tayong internet ay hindi natin may sasakatuparan ang ginawa nating online classes noong panahon ng pandemya. At ang ICT ay isa sa may pinakamalaking tulong para sa ating mga estudyante upang patuloy tayong magtamo ng mga kaalaman at matupad ang ating mga pangarap kung ano ang mga nais nating maging sa ating kinabukasan. Napakahalaga ng ICT lalong-lalo na sa ating mga mag-aaral dahil sa tulong ng ICT nakapag-aral tayo online at na-access natin ng mga e-learning modules na binibigay sa atin ng mga guro at ang iba't ibang informasyon na makikita natin sa internet. At dahil sa mga informasyon na yon, napalawak pa natin ang ating mga kaalaman at kung may mga bagay tayong hindi alam, ating nalaman dahil sa dahil sa internet at dahil sa tulong ng ICT. Isang bagay pa, kung hindi dahil sa ICT ay hindi tayo makakatanggap ng mga balita na dapat nating malaman na nangyayari sa ating paligid dahil ang ICT rin ang isa sa mga naging daan upang magkaroon ng broadcasting na napapanood natin sa ating mga television. Hanggang doon lamang, sana marami kayo natutunan at maraming salamat.
Animation is a method by which still figures are manipulated to appear as moving images. In traditional animation, images are drawn or painted by hand on transparent celluloid sheets to be photographed and exhibited on film. Today, many animations are made with computer-generated imagery.
Stop wasting time, Michael. I will be using Adobe Animate as my program, 1920 by 1080, which is the height and width of the project in pixels, 24 frames per second, which means how many frames are shown in a second, and I'll be animating on twos, which basically means I'll be drawing 1 out of every 2 frames, cutting our work in half. This is my first time doing any sort of animation, so we have to start with the basics. Number 1, boiling text. Write some text 3 times on 3 keyframes slightly different from each other. Put it on a loop, and you're done. The less you draw each frame identically, the more your text will boil. Now you got yourself some boiling text. Number 2, the bouncing ball. When animating a bouncing ball, you have to keep these principles in mind. Timing and squash and stretch. The ball accelerates as it falls, which means you have to space your frames further apart as it falls towards the ground. Vice versa as the ball bounces up and gradually loses momentum for every next bounce until coming to a stop. You can change the amount of squash and stretch to show how light or heavy the ball is. After 20 minutes and 52 frames drawn later, this is my result. Number 3, liquid text. This is a very tedious yet satisfying process. You want to make the full text present so you have an outline to follow. Now make guides for the liquid animation to follow arcs, and use easing to change the tempo. Add little splashes for details. 170 frames later, and you'll get something like this. I'm super happy with this one. Number 4, flag animation. Draw each frame of the flag imagining the wind morphing the flag into the next shape. Duplicate your line and connect them to complete the shape. You can use less frames to make the wind stronger, and you'll end up with something like this. Number 5, the walk cycle. There are endless possibilities when it comes to the walk cycle, and it seems super overwhelming. Stick with me. The main poses in a walk cycle is the contact and passing. This will already look plausible, but will look very flat. To make it more fluid, we add 2 more poses called the up.
Here's some anime content creators. If you want to know them, you can search their account on YouTube. You can learn some techniques and new things.